Around 2 months till the much anticipated global citizen event, which is taking place in Johannesburg. South African businessman Patrice Motsepe, his wife entrepreneur Dr. Precious Moloi-Motsepe, ministers Lindiwe, Sisulu and Radebe will appear on the stage at the Great Lawn in Central Park alongside world leaders, musical artists and activists, where the legacy of Nelson Mandela will be honoured in his centenary this year. We now cross live to our US correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease, who is at the event. Very good evening to you from our side here in Sherwin. Just take us through what's going on that side and what essentially are the roles that the South African speakers will be playing today.
Well, this really is a culmination of a very high-profile political week in the United States, particularly in New York City. As you know, we're wrapping up the UN General Assembly, where over 100 heads of state and government spoke in the General Assembly, whether you're talking about peace efforts around the world or implementing the SDGs, whether you're talking about financing for development or climate change, the list goes on. And what they are doing now is they're gathering here in Central Park, New York, for a concert to appeal really to a different audience, and that has been the point of the Global Citizen Festival that started here in 2012. It is the initiative of an Australian called Hugh Evans, and essentially what they are focused on is the reduction of poverty around the world and trying to appeal through music and through celebrity to a much broader audience. Yes, we have an audience at the United Nations, but this is a different kind of audience. People are coming here, the tickets are free, they had to download an app and do some charitable stuff through that app to win the lottery of tickets, and so people are not paying to come here, but they are coming here to be conscientized. So, you know, from the stars that will be performing, I'm told Janet Jackson is going to be performing. I'm looking down at my cheat sheet. Janelle Monáe, John Legend is one of the main performers, Shawn Mendes, The Weeknd. So the stars are coming here to perform and also to bring their social responsibility messages in terms of the Sustainable Development Goals. But as you correctly pointed out, there will also be political voices. You will be hearing from the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. She will give a short speech. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka will come and speak about her work in terms of women's empowerment and equality. And then, of course, there's the South African focus. Remember that this is a throw forward to that event in December, that the Motsepe Foundation is partnering with the Global Citizens Festival here in New York to bring some of the biggest names in music to Johannesburg's F&B Stadium to celebrate the centenary of Nelson Mandela's birth. Among those, as you well know, Beyonce, Jay-Z and a host of others. So a very big South African contingent here that will be talking about the legacy of Nelson Mandela to a really very global audience. Not only the 60,000 people that will be gathered here at Central Park, but of course the transmission of this event to various parts of the world.
Sherwin, have you been able to speak to, just regular citizens that are in attendance and what this actually means, the importance of them? It's not necessarily just a musical concert to come out and watch the stars.
You know, they haven't arrived. This concert is going to start at around 10 p.m. South African time, 4 p.m. local time, so the gates haven't opened, but as media, we've been allowed to come and set up on the red carpet so that when the stars do come through, we're able to talk to them, but we'll certainly try and garner some of the views. But remember, this is a very young audience, right? This is people that are coming here essentially to see the stars, but in terms of actually meeting the deadline of the 2030 agenda, which is the SDGs adopted in 2015, it's going to take citizens around the world, young people, old people, people all over, holding their national leadership accountable for the implementation of this global idea, which is the SDGs, but that has veracity when it is implemented at a local level. So it's very much about conscientizing an audience that perhaps isn't tuning into the speeches at the General Assembly this week, and they're still ongoing as I speak here. This is really about appealing to their better senses about the need for climate change mitigation and the fact that we're not moving fast enough, and maybe a Janet Jackson or a Shawn Mendes or a John Legend can appeal to a certain type of audience better than an Antonio Guterres or Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka might be able to do. And that's the point of this. It's to bring both sides together to achieve what is essentially a global and human purpose, and hopefully everyone will sing from the same hymn sheet, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Just before we wrap it up, from a personal side, Sherwin, your job is not too shabby, that you get to meet some of these stars this evening. Is there anybody in particular that you're actually excited to see this evening?
I am very excited to be speaking with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is going to walk the red carpet. We have a time scheduled, SABC does, to chat with Hugh Jackman on the red carpet. He is, of course, an Australian-born superstar here in the United States. I think he's known for his roles in movies like the X-Men, so that's certainly something to look forward to. But this is really not just about the stars. You know, sometimes we get lost in the bright lights of who we talk to. This really is about eradicating poverty around the world. So hopefully talking to familiar faces and putting them on our television screens and others will resonate with what the point of this is. And it's really to help those at the lowest rung of society get a leg up and live a better life. And that's what the SDGs is all about.
Definitely. We'll wrap it up there and enjoy. We'll catch up and have a look at some of those highlights that will be coming through from Sherwin Bryce-Pease for SABC News in New York.